welcome back to another little video game review. I'm still ill, if you couldn't guess by the sound of my voice, so I apologise for that. I'm your host as ever, Purple Midnight 8, and welcome to, well, as I said, another review. Today we're looking at the remake of The House of the Dead. The 2022 remake of the classic arcade game from 1996, I believe I just read. So, yeah. Released for all consoles. I thought it was just a PlayStation exclusive to begin with, but it turns out it's available for everything. But still, obviously the original's an arcade machine with the light guns. So if you're not familiar, we go through the bullet points of like main story, gameplay, side content, and my personal thoughts. But for the most part, it's usually like that, but sometimes there's other odds and ends. So we'll start with the main story. I will say this one will not be as long as some of the other reviews, just because the game isn't very long. There's not a lot I can really talk about. And also I'm not well, so I don't want to strain too much, so I apologise if this is like barely 10 minutes. So we'll begin with the main story. As far as the plot goes, the House of the Dead story is pretty limited. It basically is done as a like knockoff Resident Evil, as in it involves special agents that investigate a spooky old house, which they discover is full of zombies and horrific mutants. Sounds a bit familiar, doesn't it? Complete with the underground lab and hunting down an evil scientist responsible for the creation of the monstrosities found throughout. So yeah, basically it's Birkin with the Umbrella lab that's underneath the Spencer Mansion. But they couldn't do that because it's copyright and all that, so they made their own knockoff. Eventually, of course, the scientist is killed by its own creation before you are forced to kill it in what I must say is a very tedious and boring boss fight, where the game just ends after a small cutscene afterwards. Depending on the amount of points you get, it changes the ending. But barely. It's not worth finding the other ones. Gameplay-wise, it is just like the original. It's your bog standard on the rails arcade shooting game, which for whatever reason has a option on PlayStation to use the motion sensor, which just randomly turned on halfway through me playing it, which was very helpful as I was immediately swarmed and murdered. Basically, meaning it's similar to its original counterpart in other games like Time Crisis, which I absolutely love, found within arcades. The players are scored on total damage, damage taken, and bonuses found throughout the levels. The typical arcade stuff. Each chapter introduces new enemy types as well as a boss fight, where different tactics are used to be used to defeat them. But mostly it just involves shooting the thing until it stops moving, or shooting the glowy weak point a million times. It's pretty typical stuff. We'll move on to side content. Like I say, I apologise, there's not a lot I can really talk about with this, just because it's such a short game. Side content, mainly just throughout the campaign, is extremely limited. It's only 4 chapters. Rescuing scientists throughout will reward medkits and security cards to help with progression and mainly for trophies and achievements. The main side content for the game is Horde mode, which initially I thought would just be a survival mode, because that's usually what it is nowadays, but I was disappointed to find that it was just the story mode, but the number of enemies was significantly increased, which was a shame. I know it wouldn't have been easy to do that like wave-style gameplay for a fucking arcade game, but it could have been done well, but no, instead we just get, I think the wiki said up to 15 times the amount of enemies, but other than that, it's not really worth doing it unless you're going for like a challenge run. Well, we're already near the end now, so again, I apologise for that. I found it fine. It was a good, like, nostalgic thing. I'm glad I bought it on sale, though, because I would not have paid full price, even though it was only like 20 quid or so. The game is short and lackluster in regards to value for money. Always buy on sale. I think I got it for like a £5 maybe, but definitely not 20 quid worth of content in there. Simply being a game which I completed in a matter of an hour or two. Like, it was a piece of piss, and there's not much to really bring you back to play anymore. However, it is satisfying being one of those arcade shooters where you can blow individual limbs off and enemies will melt. I didn't even find any of the bonus weapons. I was expecting to pick one up, but I just ended up playing through the whole game with just a fucking pistol, which is fantastic, as you can imagine, especially during the boss fights where I just got to fucking hose down one glowy weak spot the whole time. Yeah, some of the enemy designs are pretty cool as well, even if they are just like Resident Evil knockoffs. But mostly it's one to just get on sale and have a good quick time with it, and with the multiplayer mode there is that as well. So yeah, that's already it. Like I said at the top, obviously this wasn't going to be a long one, especially with a game that I finished in a matter of an hour. So I apologise. Overall, yeah, get it on sale. Like, it's not worth paying full price for. Thankfully, it's not 70 quid like most games are now, but just don't buy it full price. But if you find it on sale for a fiver like I did, play it with a friend, definitely. But other than that, there's not much to really get you to play it. So yeah, that's it. That's all I really have to say. Once more, sorry for this being so short. Thank you for listening to my, 8 minutes of rambling. And yeah, hopefully I'll cover a better game next time. But anyway, thank you for listening, and I'll see you then. Oh wait, hang on. No, you can find my links in the description, in the link tree below. Take care.